Yes. Hello, everybody. Many thanks to the organizers of this extraordinary event. It's just remarkable, unbelievable. So many forces, so many people together to help the human beings. So I will start the presentation. As you see, it's about apitherapy. But before that, maybe a few words about my activities and location. I live on Milky Way, on solar system, on planet Earth. I believe you too. You live on the same planet with me. And on this planet, we need to take care a lot about the bees. You see here my country, Romania. I live near Bucharest, near a big forest. We have apitherapy centers. And this is my small apitherapy center, which is in the same time a house and a bee house. You see this part is the bee house, where the bees can live. The bees are very happy in our place because we have a lot of flowers, and the flowers are the source of active components, of active substances which we use in medicine. This is my small library with books from all over the world. I've got from about 50 countries, books, booklets, journals, and so on apitherapy. Here you can see on the right side, it's a new private clinic near my place, very close to my place. And the clinic was built by one of my patients, a patient who was happy with the results of the apitherapy. We are organizing courses all over the world, in many countries, practical and also theoretical courses. I wrote 3 books until now on apitherapy. One is, 2 are in German language, and the 3rd one is in French, but it's already translated in English and in Romanian. I hope someday will be translated also in Turkish. In the book, of course, we have all details about apitherapy, why the bee products are so good, and in what diseases we can use to prevent diseases or to treat diseases. The history of apitherapy in Romania is related to this gentleman, Professor Harnaj, Vyacheslav Harnaj. He was the president of Apimondia, which is the World Federation of Beekeepers. He was president between 1965 and 1985, and because in this position he was able to get a lot of information to our place, to Romania. Many books of Apimondia have been translated in several languages, and the most important, he has supported the creation of an apitherapy center in Bucharest, first one in the world, in the downtown Bucharest. This is the apitherapy center in Bucharest, where several doctors are working together with pharmacists, together with dentists, cosmeticians. So it's under one roof, all these people working together. So the communication is very good when you have everybody in the same place. In Romania, we have over 500 doctors which are licensed in phytoaromatherapy, so officially licensed by the government. And here is one small course which is done in this special building. About these regulations of apitherapy, I'm very happy that in Turkey also apitherapy is officially recognized, which is a huge step for the promotion of apitherapy in the world. Okay, so conclusion on myself, I love bees. Very simple. I hope you will love also the bees after getting in touch with the apitherapy people. So what is really apitherapy? Is an integrative complementary method that uses all main 10 bee products, so not only honey, but also many other products, to prevent, heal, or recover a living being. And with living being, I'm thinking to human beings, animal beings, or even plants, for over 800 diseases or conditions. Here, just a short remembering on the internal anatomy of a bee. Why I'm showing you this? Because the bee itself, it's like a bee products factory. It's a carrier of active substances. It's a producer of active substances. Practically, on the head of the bee is produced the famous royal jelly. In the stomach there in the middle is processed the honey, and it is enriched in enzymes and lactobacillus. And the lower part of the belly are the wax glands, and behind where is the sting, it's of course the stinger, the famous stinger. And I hope you want to hear a few seconds the sounds of a bee colony to better understand its strength, energy, and power. Let's see. Can we hear? Huh? We don't hear, I believe, but you can imagine the zzz, which is a very, very, very old information we have in our mind, in our soul. It's in our genetical structure. All of us have been stung in our life, or our ancestors have been stung by the bees in the past. So the connection between the human beings and the bees is very, very strong for many, many hundreds of thousands of years. And we can get from the bees about 15 raw bee products. Just shortly, first one, honey, the floral origin of honey, like honey coming from the flowers directly. Then honeydew honey, like you have here in Turkey, the famous pine honey, which is a kind of special kind of honey, which is from the cooperation between the bees and the aphids. Propolis. In Turkey here also has a lot of poplars. You see on the bottom on the left, it's the poplars, which are the main source of flavonoids and polyphenols for the propolis in European countries. Okay, here is green propolis from Brazil, red propolis also from Brazil. So there are about at least 15 different types of propolis, depending on the geobotanical origin, with different characteristics, different compositions, and of course different properties. But all of them, they have though common properties, and this common property is mainly antibacterial, antiviral, antioxidant. All of the propolis from all over the world, they have more or less these properties, because no matter where is the plant needs protection against bacteria, against oxidation, and so on. Beeswax, it's very famous. It gave us light so many hundreds of thousands of years, but we can use also beeswax to heal diseases or to prevent diseases. Very, very interesting. In the last about 20, 30 years, beehive air. It's a wonderful, wonderful, very refined product, and this is based on the fact that almost all products in the beehive are having volatile components, like aromatherapy components. So when you breathe the air from the beehive, you can get rid of nose diseases like rhinitis, hay fever, sinusitis, or even asthma or some bronchopneumopathies. And the method was rediscovered by an Austrian family, and now it's refined and improved, and the best product now is made in Germany by this gentleman, Jürgen Schmidgen. Another product, royal jelly, it's very famous for many properties. One of the most interesting is related to the improvement of the production of neural stem cells, which is a huge issue. If you improve the production, the differentiation of neural stem cells, then you can prevent and treat many diseases. Apilarnil, the drone larvae, is the male equivalent of royal jelly. The famous bee pollen, which can be used in the treatment of hundreds of diseases. Bee pollen is extremely rich in essential amino acids, many, many different vitamins, many minerals, many polyphenols. So it's practically a living cell when it's fresh. And it's like when you do pollen therapy, you do cell therapy. Bee bread is the form the bees are getting the pollen, and they are putting into the beehive, and they make the storage of bee pollen in the beehive in these cells in form of bee bread. This one is more sour, is more antibacterial, more antioxidant, because it is enriched also with honey and some other substances. Here is how the bees are making the bee bread, so based on bee pollen, bee saliva, and honey. Bee venom, it's the most energetical one. The bee venom, it's extremely powerful. We used to say that bee venom is like a scalpel in the hand of a surgeon. It can do a lot of good things, but also it can do damages if it's not used properly. Short conclusion on the bees and their beehives. The bees are flying pharmacists and flying doctors. I remember a book written in Russia many years ago by a professor. He said bees are flying pharmacists. And indeed, it's this situation. And the beehive is the best nature's hospital, because in the beehive you have the collection of thousands of different essences of the flowers, the plants, the trees. So it's a concentration, it's a huge concentration of thousands of different substances. And on top of this, it comes the synergy, and the bees are adding other substances to improve the substances coming from the flowers. So another thing here is that the bees are living in this kind of beehives for millions of years. They survived through all glaciations, all problems, all meteorological problems, at least 50 million years. Okay, now let's go from the bees to the human beings. Why do human beings become ill? There are, of course, many causes, but I like to make, when I have a patient in front of me, I like to make a list with all the causes of the causes, not just a list of symptoms. And one example of causes of the causes principle in a Western non-Muslim country, you'll be a bit amused of this. You can see on the image on the left side above, it's the image of a mother-in-law. The mother-in-law, which sometimes is not so nice, not so happy, it's very demanding, and it makes not happy her daughter. Then the daughter is not happy, and the husband also becomes very depressed. And unfortunately, many Western men, because of this depression, they find calming into the alcohol, which is a huge problem, huge mistake, and then they can get a liver cirrhosis. But if you ask a hepatologist, an internal medicine doctor, to put the diagnostic of the liver cirrhosis, in most of the cases, the doctor will say liver cirrhosis of ethanolic etiology, like the cause of liver cirrhosis is the alcohol. But if you look to this drawing, the cause of the liver cirrhosis is not the alcohol, is not the depression of the man, not the sadness of the daughter, but the madness of the mother-in-law. So you need to treat the cause of the cause, you need to treat the mother-in-law, not only the patient himself. A good doctor tries to find first and then neutralize or eliminate the causes of the diseases, and not only their symptoms, like I said. A complete diagnostic must be made at all main levels of the human being: physical level, energetical, functional level, psycho-emotional, mental, spiritual level. So you need all this kind of diagnostic for each patient. And best doctors to check the physical or material level are, of course, the allopathic medicine doctors, who are specialists in X-ray, they can do the MRI, they can do the blood analysis, urine analysis, and all kind of analysis which are having the goal to check the material part, the physical part, the substances. But this is not enough. We need doctors to check the energetical or the functional level, how the body is functioning, how much is the energy overall in a certain part of the body, it is too much or it is too low. And the best doctors to do this kind of diagnostic are the ones specialized in traditional Chinese medicine and in Ayurveda. Best doctors to check the psycho-emotional mental level are the doctors specialized in psychology, psychotherapy, homeopathy, There are huge diseases, many diseases where the cause is the psycho-emotional problem and not physical or other problems. So, in order to get a complete diagnostic, allopathic medicine alone, unfortunately, is not enough. We need for each of our patients an integrative medicine approach that can be obtained only through a harmonious cooperation between all specialists. We must unite our forces. The time of working alone should be a time of the past, not of the future. Just working together like the bees will be wonderful. And to convince you about this thing, let's check a bit the biochemistry in the cells, in the living cells. Do you have any idea how many biochemical reactions are happening in a living cell, like a liver cell, in a second, like each second? And the answer is at least 100,000 biochemical reactions each second. And this is in perfect harmony. Okay, so 100,000 biochemical reactions each second. The complexity is unbelievable. And we can say even that there is a tremendous amount of intelligence at molecular level. The molecules know when and how to combine each other in order to keep us alive and happy. Of course, they are coordinated by the DNA and so on, but you can say also that the molecules have a certain intelligence at their level. So, if 100,000 biochemical reactions are happening each second in most of our living cells, can we prevent and treat diseases with only one kind of substance, with only one type of molecule? It is enough to treat an infection with antibiotics based on only one molecule or substance? Is cortisone alone enough to treat inflammations when you know that inflammations have so many different causes of the causes? Is chemotherapy based on one molecule principle enough to treat an extremely complex syndrome like cancer? Of course not. So if the pharma industry wants to help us to treat correctly our patients, it must rethink completely its concepts and overall strategy, starting by simply understanding and accepting what needs our living cells to function properly. And this is especially for the case of chronic diseases. In the case of acute diseases, like a heart infarctus, yes, we can use one substance, like adrenaline or streptokinase. But in chronic diseases, we cannot rely on only one substance concept. So what needs our cells to function properly to be happy? Happy cells principle. It's one principle I discovered several years ago. And we can have here a short look on this. You see the cells are extremely complex. And what they need a non-stop supply of several categories of things that must be in harmonious amount and perfect quality. So, first of all, the cells need oxygen. And it's obvious, but sometimes we forget about this issue. Oxygen is important not only for the brain, but also for the rest of the cells. Water is the second most important thing. Good nutrition, third important thing. Protection. This is a category which is usually forgot by many of our colleagues. The cells, in order to function properly, they need protection against biochemical, biophysical, biological, mechanical enemies. We need hygiene. The cells need also hygiene. So you need to consider at the cellular level, are the cells enough clean? Do they have enough cleanliness, or are they intoxicated inside or outside? Another principle, very, very interesting, I discovered while studying about longevity. It's non-stop regeneration or maintenance or repairs. And the best example here, you see on the right side, those vintage cars. The vintage cars have been made maybe 100 years ago, but they are still running, they are still going. Why? Because they are non-stop repaired, they are non-stop maintained. So this principle should be applied also to our cells and our body. Another extremely important thing to get the healing is the relaxation or a good, very good sleep. No sleep, no healing. It's 100% sure. Reproduction or the cell division, it's another category. As you know, a family which cannot have babies is not a happy family. Same happens at cellular level. The cells, in order to get their goals, they must multiply, they must divide in a proper manner. But in order to divide, they need, of course, a lot of things, including energy. No energy, no life. It's not enough oxygen, water, hygiene, and so on. You need energy. You need activity, functionality, targets, and goals. You need good information. We know that the cells are communicating among themselves on biophysical level, biochemical level, through the hormones, through the nervous system, and so on. But this amount of information should be in a good quality and good quantity. If it's too much, it's not good. If it's too less, it's also not good. Good coordination among all body cells, tissues, organs, and systems. And here is one principle, which is one for all and all for one, the D'Artagnan principle, which means here that each cell of our body works for the rest of the cells of the body, and all the cells of the body works for each of the single cells. So when we want to treat a certain cell, a certain small part of the body, like this finger, these cells here need the cooperation of all the other cells in the body, the lungs, the heart, the brain, everything else. So only a local treatment is not enough. We need always to think integrative and to think to the whole body to have a better approach. Also very important, even if it's difficult to accept at the cellular level, but the cells needs also overall these concepts like friendship, respect, and love. Somebody which lost love, of course it will get into a big depression, it will breathe less, and from this less breathing it comes a lot of diseases. So these are also important. Here is the drawing with all these categories which are needed for the cells to function properly. And you will see when we use the Beehive products, we try to complete, to make happy all these categories for each of our patients. And if you look also to the biochemistry of the cells, you see the upper part with the energy is related to the glucose, to the mitochondria, to the communications. Nutrition is related to the Golgi apparatus, respiration to the mitochondria, immunity, interferon, and so on. So the cellular specialists, the histologists, and the cell biologists, they can explain about this. Bee pollen, bee venom, honey, all these bee products, they work on the cells to make the cells work properly. And if you make a cell to work properly, all the cells in the body can be also in good functioning. Okay, so let's see some examples of the use of apitherapy on various diseases. On surgery, apisurgery. First of all, we can use honey, propolis. We can administer directly into the tissues. There is also a method to administer honey, filtered or not filtered, in the veins, intravenous administration. Practically, our tissues, our organs tolerate very well the bee products if we do the correct doses. Here is the application also in a hospital in France, honey for the wounds. Here is one of my patients having a gangrene, a very severe form of gangrene on the foot, and it was treated with honey, with propolis, and some essential oils. In gastroenterology, the best products are honey and propolis. Here is the example, just one example with the ulcers. Propolis works on many, many levels against the ulcers. In otorhinolaryngology, bee products, the honey bee products, can have at least 80% good results in all kinds of inflammations and problems in this area, especially like rhinitis, sinusitis, pharyngitis, laryngitis, and so on. In apipneumology, we can use, again, all bee products through different mechanism of actions, different doses, different applications. The most interesting modern new method is, as I said, the beehive air inhalation. In pediatry, for the children, The children, of course, our treasures. We can use also the bee products and dilute it, of course, as much as is needed to arrive to the child level. In rheumatology, there are many diseases, especially, again, inflammations, arthritis and so on, which can be prevented, can be treated, but if they are so advanced like here, you cannot change the structure, but you can eliminate the inflammation, so you can eliminate the pain. In sexopathology, the bee products can be used also, again, under the rules of the Chinese medicine or Ayurveda. You need first the diagnostic of the causes of the causes. And in gynecology too, one of the main causes of inefficiency in the gynecology is the fact that the gynecological area, the uterus and so on, in many cases, in many women, it's too cold. It really physically is too cold. The feet of the ladies are cold, the knees and so on, all this area, genital area is cold, colder than the rest of the body. And because of this, of course, they cannot become fertile, they have a lot of diseases. And this coldness, local coldness, cannot be eliminated with some pills, with some cortisone, or with some tablets. So we use in apitherapy, the bee venom is the most important to improve the energy in this area, but also this energy comes if you give the other products like honey and so on. In dermatology, there are many conditions which we can treat with beehive products. Here, just a few examples. The scars, which are very difficult to remove. You need plastic surgery, very expensive, not easy to, not affordable by all people. So also here, kind of tumors on the skin, benign tumors on the skin. Also with bee venom you can eliminate. Here, superficial wounds on the skin, eliminated by propolis in less than 2 weeks. In cosmetology, we can use pollen, honey, royal jelly. There are many interesting applications on this. Apidentistry, it's a huge topic. The most important products are propolis and honeydew honey, which can eliminate the various stages of the disease, like in periodontitis. Honey after tooth extraction, one very interesting application. And here is an image of Dr. Rafael Feliti from Uruguay, who is using injections of honey or propolis extracts into the tooth canal, root canal, or like here on the wound after a tooth extraction. Another application in dentistry or in mouth medicine, let's say, it's the people having protheses. They have irritations many times, so when they use the honeybee products, they can get improvements. A very interesting application in Asia, in Japan especially, is the bee venom in the mouth mucosa. And just very quickly, a few conclusions about my presentation about apitherapy. The beehive products correctly collected and processed can be used practically in all over 40 medical specialties, including in genetics. We have got a huge database on all these specialties, so if you are specialists in a certain specialty, you can just contact us and we can give you these databases on apitherapy. Another important point is that to use properly the beehive products, there is a lot of need of good training. Apitherapy works best with interdisciplinary integrative medicine approach, like we are all doing here in this conference, wonderful conference. And for further information, please contact my colleague, Dr. Ali Timuçin, who is the chairman of the Turkish Apiterapi Association. And I must say already, it's a small technical mistake here. The address is not this one. I don't know why it was not saved, but it's the website is apider.org. So you can go to apider.org and you'll find all the data, contact data of Dr. Timuçin. In Hungary, you have this website. In India, Mr. Pushpendra. And for international level, you can contact us in Romania, Germany, or the International Federation of Apitherapy. Many thanks for your attention. Thank you very much.